Hashard, the Tale of the Abandoned Ant. Once upon a time, there was a person living in a place called Sarashina in the province of Shinano. They had an elderly aunt living in their home, whom they cared for like a parent, and they lived together for many years. However, over time, the person began to feel a strong aversion towards this aunt, thinking of her as a burden. The aunt had become extremely frail and bedridden, which only intensified their negative feelings. The person frequently expressed to their husband the deep-seated issues they had with the aunt, saying her heart is exceedingly bad. The husband, upon hearing this, remarked, "What a difficult situation this is." Yet, despite his feelings, he often acted foolishly on behalf of the aunt. The aunt had become very frail, unable to stand properly. The wife grew more and more frustrated, wishing for the aunt's death. She insisted to her husband, take this aunt deep into the mountains and abandon her. The husband, feeling pity, refused to abandon her. However, after being persistently pressured by his wife, he became remorseful for not following her wishes and resolved to abandon the aunt. On the night of the full moon on the 15th of August, he said to the aunt, "Come along, old woman, there's something very precious to see at the temple." The aunt replied, "That sounds wonderful. I shall go." The husband carried her on his back, climbing to the foot of a high mountain. As they ascended, they reached a point where the aunt could not descend, and the husband, feeling remorse, fled back home, leaving her there. The aunt cried out, "Oh dear!" But the husband did not respond and ran away, returning home. Once home, he thought about the aunt and felt sorrowful for abandoning her after having cared for her like a parent for so many years. Looking up at the bright moonlight shining down from the mountain, he could not sleep all night, lamenting and speaking to himself, "My heart cannot be consoled. Is it not pitiful to abandon my aunt and see the moon shining?" Thus he went back to the mountain to retrieve the aunt. He resumed caring for her as he had before. Therefore, concerning the words of the current wife, one should not express unfounded feelings. Such situations can still arise today. The mountain became known as the Ant Abandonment Mountain. The phrase, "how hard it is to be consoled," originates from this old story. Previously, it was called Kanzan, Kwanzan, said to resemble a crown, as the name has been handed down through generations. Thus, the story has been passed down. The tale of the man who left his wife and returned. Once upon a time, there was a person living in a certain district of the province of Shimotsuke. For many years, a couple lived together. However, for some reason, the husband left his wife and took another woman as his spouse. He completely changed his heart and took everything belonging to his first wife, leaving nothing behind. He transported all of it to his current wife. The first wife felt deeply saddened, but decided to leave it all to the husband and watched as he took everything, not even leaving a speck of dust. The only thing left behind was a single horse. There was a boy working as a stable hand for this husband, named Makajimaru. The husband sent him to fetch the horse, and when the first wife saw the boy, she said, "It seems you will not come back to this world." The boy replied, "Why wouldn't I come? Am I so shallow as to be unable to return?" As he was about to take the horse, the first wife said, "If you have something you wish to say to your master, you should tell him." The boy replied, "I will convey your words well." The first wife then said, "If you deliver a message, do not expect to see this world again. Just say this to him: from today onward, how shall I traverse this fleeting world?" Upon hearing this, the boy returned and relayed her message to his master. The husband, moved by the words, thought, "How pitiful this is." He returned all the items he had taken and brought them back to his first wife, and they resumed living together as before, without any grievance or bitterness. Therefore, those with a compassionate heart have spoken of this story as it has been handed down through the years. The tale of the nobleman who left his wife and returned. Once upon a time, there was a young nobleman of good character living in a certain district. He had deep feelings for his wife, but he ended up abandoning her for a more fashionable woman. In doing so, he completely forgot about his first wife. Living in his new place, the first wife felt lonely and worried. The man, having acquaintances in the province of Setsu, went there for leisure. While passing by the shore of Namba, he noticed small clams and beautifully flowing seaweed and thought, "These are delightful items." He decided to take them back to amuse his new wife, so he sent a young servant to fetch them, instructing him, "Be sure to take this to Kyoto and present it, saying, 'These are amusing items to show.'" The servant, however, misunderstood and took the items to the first wife's home. When the first wife received them, she thought deeply about them, and having been sent such entertaining items, she replied, "Please take care to ensure that nothing is lost." The servant then asked, "Where is my lord?" To which she replied, "He is in Setsu. He sent these delightful items from the shore of Namba." Hearing this, the first wife thought, "This seems like an unusual and mistaken delivery," but she accepted them, saying, "I understand." The servant ran back to Setsu to tell his master, "I have received your orders." The master, realizing the items had been sent to the first wife's home, thought that these were indeed amusing. He placed them in a bowl of water before him to enjoy their beauty. Meanwhile, after about 10 days, the man returned from Setsu and asked his current wife, "Have you received the items I sent?" The wife replied, "What items have been sent? What are they?" The man explained, "They are simply small clams, adorned with beautiful seaweed, which I found at Namba's shore. I hurried to send them because they are delightful." The wife replied, "I see no such items. Who did you send them with? If they had been brought here, I would have eaten the clams grilled and the seaweed pickled." Upon hearing this, the man felt a pang of disappointment. He stepped outside to call the servant and asked, "What did you do with the items?" The servant explained his misunderstanding and how he delivered them to the first wife instead. The master became very angry and demanded, "Quickly fetch them back and come right now." The servant, shocked by his mistake, ran back to the first wife's home to explain the situation. The first wife, realizing the mix-up, said, "Indeed, it seems there was a mistake in the delivery." She took the items, put them in water to preserve them, and wrapped them in mutsu paper to send back with a note that read, "I did not expect you to send such delightful items. How shall I return them without losing their beauty?" The servant took the note back to his master, who, upon reading it and finding the items to be as they were, thought, "How fortunate that they have not been lost," but he still felt a pang of regret. When he opened the wrapped paper, he found the note. Upon seeing it, the man felt a deep sorrow, reflecting on the words of his current wife about eating grilled clams and pickling the seaweed. Suddenly, he realized that he wanted to return to his first wife. Without hesitation, he resolved to go back to her. Eventually, he conveyed what had happened to his current wife, and he decided to forget her and return to his first wife. Those who possess a compassionate heart have spoken of this story, emphasizing that one should always return to the place of true affection, for the feelings of the first wife were genuine and enduring. Thus, it has been passed down through the years. The Tale of the Man from Tanba, who wrote a poem for his wife. Once upon a time, there was a man living in a certain district of Tanba. Although he was a countryman, he had a deep and sensitive heart. He had two wives living in separate houses. His first wife was from the same region, and he cherished her in a calm and peaceful manner. His second wife, on the other hand, had been brought from Kyoto and was more captivating in his eyes, which made the first wife feel neglected and sorrowful. One autumn day, while staying with his second wife in the mountain village to the north, he heard the plaintive sound of a deer calling from the mountains. He turned to his second wife and asked, "What do you think that sound is?" She replied, "It's a creature that is delightful whether roasted or boiled." The man, feeling a sense of disconnect, thought to himself, "Since she is from Kyoto, she might find such things amusing," and he felt a twinge of disappointment. Deciding to visit his first wife, he asked her, "Have you heard the sound of the deer?" She responded with a poignant poem, "I too am like that deer, longing for you, yet I hear your voice only from afar." Upon hearing this, the man felt immense sorrow. He realized how much he had neglected his first wife in favor of the second. Consequently, he sent the second wife away and returned to live with his first wife. This story shows that even a countryman can understand the feelings of both men and women. It is said that women can also express their emotions beautifully, as illustrated by the poem they shared. Thus, it has been passed down through the years.